As the reviews of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild come out, I thought I would address a topic that I've always found kind of interesting. One of the central questions, I think, in video game journalism that, to my knowledge, has gone unanswered. And that is, do you need to beat a game in order to review it? And I think the prevailing idea is yes, but if you look kind of closely at this question, I think it gets to the heart of what a modern game is. And the question that I think comes up when you try to determine, well, at what point can I speak critically of a game, is does the story of the game, does whatever narrative it has, be it a kind of loose, traditional, or sort of a loose open world narrative or a traditional linear narrative, do you need to play through that to get a sense of what the act of playing the game is? And I always come down on the no side of that answer, because if you look at it, I think video games are played as a diversion. Video games are played not in one big narrative sweep, typically, if it's a large game, but played incrementally. And if a game is played incrementally, I think just to start, it's sort of unfair for the people who have to go review games to feel that economic pressure to play through the game in one sweep and play it at a frenzied clip in order to get their review out there. Now, I only did this once or twice when I started my channel. I played through Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2 or 3 days because I felt like, I need to get my opinion out there. People need to hear it. That video sat at 40 views for 2 years, so I decided I would not put myself under that kind of pressure to play through a game. And I don't play through a lot of games. I don't have the chance or really the inclination to play through a lot of the modern AAA games. But I was asking myself this as I was playing through Yakuza. At what point could I release my Yakuza review video? And I did wait till I finished it, but after the fact I said, I could have basically offered the same review and the same opinion had I come out with this video a week earlier. And again, the idea is, did I need to know how that story ended to tell people what they could expect during a normal play session? And I don't think that I did. The way that the Yakuza 0 story resolved itself was by no means critical to my enjoyment of the game, as I said in that review. It's the typical Yakuza story, and while it's kind of integral to building the world, to building the in-game environment, its resolution did nothing to enhance or detract from my experience of playing the game. So obviously, if you treat games like a movie narrative, a book plot, things like that, you must see how it resolves itself, because it's a more or less kind of unified work of entertainment or unified work of art, depending on what you're reading or viewing, that is kind of meant to be enjoyed in a sustained way. Whereas I think the beauty of games are that they don't force you into that sustained attention. You can dive into the world, you can complete a few tasks, you can step back out. And I could be wrong. I mean, maybe people play through games, they do it 6-7 hours at a time. But if you treat it as a game, as an amusement, the key questions, I think, shift away from the issue of story arc to questions of mechanics, to questions of the art of the game world, to questions, if you actually treat games as products, of, how do they function on a technical level? What is the online like? Are there any glaring technical glitches? And I think as a consumer, the reviews that focus on those questions, games as products, games as diversions, games as immersive, engaging, but ultimately limited kinds of experiences, and there I go, I used the word experience, I said I wasn't going to do that, but so be it. If you treat games in that way, then the story becomes simply part of the world. And if the story is part of the world, you can comment on it, but I don't think you need to actually explore, engage with the story until its resolution, And if you've been following the channel, as you know, I don't think there have been too many really great video game narratives. Yes, they've approximated Hollywood films, which is not high praise in my opinion. They have predictable and sometimes unpredictable plot twists. They may have politically and culturally kind of disturbing messages. But if we believe that games are digital amusements to be enjoyed, how they treat their stories are not as central, in my opinion, to how they engage you as a player. And I wonder if we can't take some of the pressure off of modern-day reviewers and say, you know what, play it for 20 hours, play it for 30 hours, if it's kind of one of these longer, 80-hour-plus games, or if it's not, hey, play it for, play a representative chunk of the game and communicate that experience to the reader. I think we may get actually from that kind of less hype-laden and more kind of critical and intricate reviews, and we can maybe give back to the reviewer the joy of playing a game in a kind of normal way.